the woman, who is likely the world's best-known children's author, is defending herself against growing accusations of transphobia. J.K. Rowling, the creator of Harry Potter, of course, who sparked outrage last weekend with a series of controversial tweets about trans women.
People who didn't. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wombin? Wimpun? Woman?
That stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. This organization saying, J.K. Rowling, you are a TERF.
Harry Potter fans are wishing that J.K. Rowling, author of the novels upon which the film series is based, would use the silencing charm on herself.
Shame.
Radcliffe wrote in a statement, "Transgender women are women. Any statement to the contrary erases the identity and dignity of transgender people and goes against all advice given by professional healthcare associations who have far more expertise on this subject matter than either Joe or I."
Shame. That's the Lannister of Game of Thrones.
Trans people are who they say they are and deserve to live their lives without being constantly questioned or told they aren't who they say they are.
I, as a trans woman, did not find these offensive or transphobic at all. If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased.
To the transgender community from Daniel Radcliffe, who portrayed the boy who lived in all 8 Harry Potter movies.
I might not be Daniel Radcliffe or Harry Potter, but I'm the boy who lived, thanks to being able to medically transition as a trans man. So, while you're going off on Twitter, think about that, JK. Hey there my dudes, I'm Laddie and welcome to another video. So yeah, my hair is gone, it's all gone, I shaved it off. This was not the reason I shaved it off, this video. That would be hilarious if that's why I shaved it off. I just kind of wanted to do it and I really like how it turned out. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of it, because I've got things from "you look like an angry Polish man," just about every weird possible thing that someone could comment on my new shaved head. So just let me know in the comments, why not? In this video, as you know from the title, I am going to be speaking about J.K. Rowling and her issues with and things that she has done that has sparked a lot of issues in the trans community. You could say issues. I think you could say issues. There is a lot of things that have been happening specifically to do with J.K. Rowling and a lot of her tweets and a lot of things she's said and a lot of people she's followed, and a lot of big YouTubers, like big trans YouTubers and LGBT YouTubers and just other people have been chiming up about it. So I kind of wanted to, for any of you guys who wondered what I was thinking about this situation, I wanted to make a video. As you guys know, I try and be as fair as I can. I try and look at both sides. So let's get into it. Okay, so before I start this video, I want to add in a clip from Jamie Dodger's channel. He is a trans YouTuber called Jamie. If you don't already know him, I mean, go check his stuff out. And he made a video with his wife Shaaba about this J.K. Rowling situation and the essay that she wrote. So go check that video out. They speak a lot more in detail about the lingo and the statistics of everything that's going on with this specific issue of J.K. Rowling and related issues. But they say something very important at the beginning of the video that a lot of people seem to think that we disagree with.
Before we start this video, we want to clearly state 3 things. 1. Biological sex is definitely real. 2. Women's rights and girls' rights definitely need to be protected and fought for, of course. And 3. J.K. Rowling is perfectly entitled to like, support and write whatever she wants. freedom of speech should be protected.
Trans people and allies don't think otherwise, they agree. At the same time, J.K. Rowling's essay is misleading and damaging to the trans community.
So there's been a bunch of tweets, and this is an example. If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of... Basically, she goes on about this. And Lucy, I'm trying to make a very important video. Lucy. Oh, we've been joined by a little friend here for this video. What do you think? What do you think about the situation, Lucy? Yeah? Sorry about that. As I was saying, she made a tweet speaking about the same-sex attraction thing. A bunch of people say, and try and ignore the cuteness that's happening right now, a bunch of people say that trans people think that sex isn't real, and this massive trans crowd is trying to tell the world that sex shouldn't exist and sex shouldn't... No one is saying that. And I wanted to touch on a video from Blair White, and she basically says that J.K. Rowling isn't transphobic at all, and everyone else is just sensitive, and we all need to shut up. So, for fair's sake, I am actually going to have a look at her video.
Now, this huge fiasco that is officially labeled J.K. Rowling as transphobic stemmed from these 3 tweets by Rowling. And I'm just gonna go ahead and state my opinion before I even read these tweets. I, as a trans woman, did not find these offensive or transphobic at all, literally at all. Now, if you're of the opinion that J.K. Rowling is transphobic or these tweets are transphobic, I asked you just for a second to really analyze them with me, because I, as a trans woman, cannot find the transphobia. So these tweets read as, if sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. So far, I'm not seeing any transphobia. This is all true. Biological sex is real. I know that there are certain segments of the population that do not believe that biological sex is real. I know that there is a very harsh stereotype on the trans community that we are science deniers and that we don't believe in biological sex. I am biologically male. Cue the title. That's just a fact. I am a trans woman. If you are a trans man, you are biologically female. That's kind of the whole point.
A lot of trans people I know don't actually think that sex isn't a thing. I am biologically a female, and I will always be female no matter what surgeries I get and things. Personally, I feel like I am biologically female always. However, I'm a man. So what Jamie and Shaaba said in the long video they made, is that yes, the point in, much like Blair White said, the point in being trans is that you are biologically something that you do not identify with in gender. However, gender and sex are different, which is one of the things that you definitely have to look at and see, is that gender and sex are different. So even though I'm biologically female, I identify as a man. Some people out there will say that is ridiculous, and this is like trans exclusionists and stuff. They'll say, this is ridiculous, you can't just feel like a certain gender, that's not how things work. However, I would say that they can F off. I understand it's a very confusing concept being trans, but you know, I just want to have a look a bit more at this Blair video, because she said some really interesting things that I agreed with and some that I didn't.
Yeah, that women like me, who've been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e. to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and have lived consequences, is nonsense. And I completely agree. What she's basically communicating here is that, like, yes, there are definitely similarities between the struggle of trans women and women in general, I suppose. There's definitely parallels, but it's not wrong to make distinctions where there may be differences.
So they speak about the differences between the struggle of trans women and women, and I understand all these people don't want to take away any rights for cis women that giving rights to trans women may impose, but I and Shaaba and Jamie on that video and a bunch of other people I know can't think of, and I'm sure you guys, if you think of one, will let me know in the description down below, can't think of any possibility of what giving trans women rights would take away from cis women's rights. And trans women need rights too. They need the same rights as cis women. That's how it needs to work. You need to identify under the same, you need to see trans women under the same umbrella as cis women. And the reason why is because they deal with a lot of the same sexism. If they can't see or don't know the person is a trans woman, they deal with the same sexism and same, you know, systemic oppression as cis women do. However, I understand that some people get afraid of having their same-sex spaces taken away from them or being harassed in their same-sex spaces. And I think that is because a lot of people see trans women as men or people who could be perverts or people that could be some type of, you know, harasser. They see them as someone who's as basically men dressing up as women that aren't actually women and are going to harass women in the changing rooms or the toilets or whatever. However, this clip from the Jamie and Shaaba video was exactly what I was thinking on this topic.
This is when the trans exclusionists say, but what about the predators who pretend to be women? Put very simply, these people are not trans women. They are not women. This is a separate issue, and just because some bad people might choose to use trans women as a scapegoat, it does not mean that trans women as a whole group should be penalised.
This is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. Hi, baby. So, as Blair White mentioned in her video, she doesn't think J.K. Rowling is transphobic. And I understand people see like transphobic as the fear of trans people, the radical outright hating of trans people. So let's not see it that way. Let's just kind of get rid of the transphobia thing and just kind of see it as problematic, because it is. So you don't have to necessarily outright say, oh, I hate all trans people should like go die or anything like that for it to be transphobic, or not just transphobic, or have issues and bring up anti-trans issues. Where I draw the line, however, is the tweet where she said, what is the name for people who have periods? There used to be a name for that. What was it? Women's, womened, or whatever the hell she said. And Piers Morgan basically defended this tweet. He said it was ridiculous, all the hate she was getting for it. It was just logic, it was just fact. And I know an eye for an eye and the world goes blind, but if you give out hate or misinformation, you're going to get the same thing back. You're going to get people who are hating on you back, who are sending these comments. But when it comes to people like Ben O'Keefe, he made a tweet basically attacking J.K. Rowling and shouting at someone, calling them a vile transphobic bigot, isn't going to help anyone. You need to discuss it with them and tell them where they went wrong, because at the end of the day, you can't have a discussion when it's more like an argument, because no one's going to listen to anyone. I think that the tweet that J.K. Rowling said, and this is why I draw the line at this, about people who menstruate being women, is annoying because it's unnecessary. She doesn't need to write that out there. It's just all it's doing in this biological study is speaking about, or just including trans people in general. And I used to be a person who menstruated, that used to be me, so I'm guessing she was calling me a woman back then, even though I was transitioning and everything. And okay, whatever, call me whatever you want, but I just think it's unnecessary. You can call me whatever you want, you can have whatever views you want, but if you're not ready to deal with the backlash of being called a bigot or a transphobe, then think about what you're going to say before you say it in front of a massive audience. I agree with the end of Ben O'Keefe's tweet because he speaks about TERF-like messaging, and even though J.K. Rowling said it was an accidental like, she was meant to save the tweet, but she liked a tweet from a TERF type person. TERF is trans exclusionary radical feminists, or just trans exclusionists, and there's a lot more in Jamie's video about that, and they describe what that actually is. But when you like tweets like that and you put out similar messaging to TERF people or trans exclusionists, and you put out tweets that are very similar to their sort of messaging, then you're gonna get called a TERF. I'm sorry. In this particular video, Blair, among with other people, have this all or nothing approach to someone being a bigot. So you're either a vile transphobic bigot or a trans-loving ally. You're all or nothing, and I don't think that's the way we should look at it. Yes, the stuff J.K. Rowling is saying is problematic for all of the reasons stated in Jamie's video that I will link down below, because it's an hour-long video There's no way I'm going to make an hour-long video, but those problematic things may not necessarily mean she is being outright transphobic, but it's kind of on the verge of it. So there may be aspects to J.K. Rowling that is transphobic to what she says, and there may be aspects where she is actually trying to be an ally, which are, in my personal opinion, much more scarce. She probably more likely lies somewhere in between. She is either doing this on purpose, or she is ignorant, or just generally misinformed. So speaking to people who hold Blair's opinions, even though, yes, I agree, saying that sex exists is not transphobic, but you don't have to scream, I hate all trans people, to act in a way that is negative to the trans community. Small things you say can spread negativity and hate and misinformation and stereotypes that perpetuate this horrible view towards the trans community. And especially with J.K. Rowling, when you have such a large audience, that can be a real issue, because many people will hear you and they'll feel validated, or they'll feel like it's okay, or they'll learn the wrong way to treat our community. Not to trigger anyone, but you can suck my left tit if you think that the trans community was just going to roll over and be like, oh yeah, J.K. Rowling spit on me. Like, we're not just gonna let just blatant sort of, I'd call it backhanded transphobia. It's kind of not so blatant that it's like, oh, you can all go, trans people are crazy, you're all nuts, this and that. It's that subtle, shielded tweet of, oh, I'm just giving out facts. I'm not trying to hurt any particular type of community. I have trans friends. I love my trans friends. Saying, oh, it's okay, I'm not transphobic, I have trans friends. I mean, I don't even need to explain why that's stupid. Opinions like this, expressed and backed up by people like J.K. Rowling, even if she didn't mean to, one of the reasons that individuals with anti-trans views feel justified and validated to throw them at trans people, whether it be online, and it's one of the reasons that a bunch of people like me, and as Jamie said in his video, and a bunch of other people I know that are trans, get these disgusting comments online every single day. And it's gotten to the point where I see them online, I'm like, okay, that's happened, yeah, cool, whatever. I see them all the time since I started YouTube and stuff. But these people feel validated because they look at these big stars and people with big platforms that are saying, oh, it's fine to feel this way, it's fine to say this stuff about trans people. So many people may say, whoa, 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 that's too far. J.K. Rowling didn't do this, or the people that made tweets like J.K. Rowling didn't do this, or TERFs didn't do this, or, you know, people like that didn't do this. Well, I've got news for you. Actions have consequences, and a lot of people don't think, oh, well, if I'm not directly being the person that's hating on the person, it's completely fine. But things have ripple effects, and those ripple effects will then go out to people on the internet who feel like they can be anonymous and go and hate on people, or even in the street. People are like, oh, well, this Piers Morgan or J.K. Rowling has this view, so I'm not the idiot here, you are, you tranny. Like, so just people need to watch what they're saying on the internet, and there are a bunch of people who are backing up J.K. Rowling. I've watched so many videos of people who are just like, oh, J.K. Rowling isn't the wrong, what are you on about? You guys are just sensitive snowflakes. And I'm like, I can take it with all the things, like I'm not that sensitive to it. A lot of it I looked at and I was like, this is problematic for the community, but not so much for me. But that's the issue. I've got to back up my community, and at the end of the day, sometimes you need to shut up. So that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. I could have made a much longer video, but there's so much more I could say on it, and if any more updates come up, I will make a new video. But I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I might make another video about it with my views a bit more cohesive, because I wrote a whole script and then my cat interrupted me halfway through, so anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Oh, subscribe. Thank you. I was being really nice and fair in the video when I was reading your other tweets, but you are just now a dickhead, really. Like, this was a line, and I like to be fair until people cross a line. Like, I've given you chances, especially in the video. I was like, I can understand why you're saying this, I get it, but this is why it's wrong. Like, now you've just taken it too far. The system sees surgery as an easy fix to girls who do not conform. Oh, okay, am I a girl who doesn't conform? To people like Blair, whether or not you are offended by something is completely irrelevant to whether it is actually problematic to a community. You're speaking on and over the voices of actual trans people who are saying, no, this is our experience, and you're saying, no, but I read this article, and there's loads of trans people in the community just screaming at you, no, this is not how it is, it's much harder to transition, we are not trying to take away things rights, like cis women's rights. We are not trying to harass anyone. We just want to live. We just want to live normally and whatever. But then you're saying tweets like, no, this is actually true. Listen to me.